up, get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Begin.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode 44 of Frame Skip, another video game podcast where three people who live similar lives and all look roughly the same gather to talk about one of their favorite pastimes, the ones and zeros, the coded conundrums. That's right, video games.
We're white guys that play games.
I am your host for the evening, George Cam Newton Loftus, and no, I don't regret that nickname yet. Joining us through the magic of internet tubes and wires is Elijah, the ladies' man, Steve.
Hello there. How are you?
He's got balls of steel.
And joining us through a different series of internet tubes and wires is Seth, the wettest ham in the whole damn store, Slakehouse.
You got that right, George. And let me tell you what, all these other wet hams are coming for the belt. But at one point or another, I took the crown, and I am not letting it go. I sit on this throne, and I will be the best wet ham champion that we have ever had.
That's right. Freshly thawed himself, just out of the freezer, collecting.
That's right.
Collecting that weird ice water that gathers when you let meats thaw in the fridge in a bowl, ideally.
I have been training for this wet ham competition my whole life, and I will not let this title go. You can ask my trainers. You can ask my friends. I am the wettest I've ever been.
And here's why I think you're going to win. I don't think I've ever met another person more dedicated to the cause of being the wettest ham than you.
That's fair, yeah.
I don't think it's...
Yeah, and...
like, for everyone else is just, like, existing in the world of wet hams. You're living it, bud. Like,
yeah, I mean... And honestly, like, it's not possible to be more committed to being the best wet ham. Like, I am the quintessential wet ham champion, the champion, the peak. That is me.
Well, that's how I've always thought of you. So checks out.
if you want the strap, you're gonna get clapped.
That's something only the wettest of hams have the gall to say. So must be true if it's coming from the mouth of old damp ham himself. How you doing, Elijah? You're quiet.
I'm doing all right. Getting over being sick, so
yeah,
I'm just glad to not be coughing every 20 seconds or sniffling.
Welcome back. I don't want to cause concern for our listeners. You had a bad sinus infection. It was not COVID.
No, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh no, that actually might have been easier to deal with.
Yeah, maybe. I'd rather not find out.
I'm going to leave it up to the imagination and not actually try.
Well, you know that old expression, the sinus infection is better.
I've also never had a sinus infection before, so I don't know sinus infections.
The sinus infection you know is better than the COVID you don't.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty sure that was on the $2 bill before they took those out of circulation. How you doing, Seth?
That sounded
pretty
like
good.
a Snapple fact.
Pretty good. Speaking of money, I heard they're changing the 20. They're taking old Tommy J off of the 20 and putting someone on it.
Andrew Jackson.
Is Andrew Jackson? It's not Thomas Jefferson on the 20?
No, Thomas Jefferson's on the nickel and the $2 bill.
Is it really Andrew? You're bullshit, man.
It's Andrew Jackson. Also, that's $5 to awesome. Old Hickory himself.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
I have gone my whole life thinking that's what Thomas Jefferson looked like.
Wow, have you never seen a $20 bill before? I don't want this to get too depressing, but...
No. I've seen a lot of $20 bills. I just always thought it was Thomas Jefferson. I never thought it was Andrew Jackson. I don't know why. I've got my whole life thinking this. I've probably said this in conversation many times. And people thought I was an idiot.
They all have bad hair, but Thomas Jefferson has like a ponytail bad hair.
But the Biden administration wants to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
Dude, they were talking about that back in 2016 about which American should be placed on the $10 bill, I believe, at the time.
Yeah, I think you're right. $10.
I remember during the debate, the exact second that Jeb Bush lost the debate for the Republican primary was when he said Margaret Thatcher should be on the $10 bill. It was the prime minister of England from 1980 to 1990. I mean, whatever.
I mean, like who cares? Like, let's just make him a green piece of paper, and it just says this is worth $20 on it. Period.
I mean, you shouldn't put that on the $10 bill, but yeah, I know, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
it literally just says sarcasm. This is $20.
Yeah, I love the sarcasm. This is what I would make in my administration.
This, me hosting, you buckle up, boys, because that's gonna be a sarcastic as hell romp through the space. a Vigi game. Speaking of Vigis, Elijah, what have you been playing this week?
Really, the only game I've been playing, well, the only two are Apex Legends. The new season started last week, so I've just been trying to get my dailies, level up my battle pass. Haven't really used the new character that much, so this week I'll finally get to. Also, I never got to say, I beat Kingdom Hearts. That game wasn't that great. Ghost of Tsushima I beat. That game wasn't that great either.
Oh, no.
And I just finished the Division 2 expansion, and they did an update for that for PS4 and 5, I just tried to say together. PS5 and Xbox Series X. The game looks and runs gorgeous, and I basically fallen in love with that game all over again. But the final boss of the expansion was one of the worst boss fights I've ever gone up against.
The Warlord of New York.
The Warlord of New York.
I told you not to play Kingdom Hearts, and you wouldn't listen.
I mean,
I told you.
The game
I said it. It's not worth it.
The game was fine, but the entire plot of the game, you could literally say 3 sentences and literally get every important detail from the game.
Buckle up, bud.
And one of the final boss fights was the second worst boss fight I have ever experienced in a video game. I had to level up 10 levels in order to beat it.
I mean, that's not criticism for a bad boss fight. That's just because you...
No. Weak. That's the only... You know how the end of Kingdom Hearts is? There's like 10 boss fights in a row. That's the only one that gave me problems.
Well, you did the over around thing in the pregame, so I think this comes down to being entirely your fault. Also, it's
it always is.
Probably karma for not enjoying Ghost of Tsushima to its fullest potential.
100%.
That game wasn't that great, so I enjoyed it.
All right, well, that's enough from Elijah.
Seth,
what have you played this week?
Dude, I tell you what, I've been getting down and dirty with Final Fantasy 14. As always, but I've been really getting down and dirty with it this week. I mean, we've been in a mud bath, middle of the desert type mud bath, just getting down in there, down and dirty, filthy, if you will, sloppy. And I've been really enjoying my time with that. I also played Scott Pilgrim vs. the World last night with my girlfriend after we watched the movie. Good movie. Great movie.
Is it the best movie tie-in game of the last 10 years, yes or no?
Gun to the head, I want to say yes, but I'm assuming there's got to be one better than that because the game doesn't really follow the story of the movie very well.
Yeah, but that was also when they stopped making movie tie-in games, unless you want to play like the Dark.
That's what I'm thinking.
The Dark Knight on mobile.
That's what I'm thinking because like I'm like thinking of another movie tie-in game. I just can't. I can't think of many that were good. You know, I heard Captain America was good, but I never played it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No,
okay. It was basically just like, what if we took Arkham Asylum and just made everything worse than Arkham Asylum? Similar, but just not as good. Also, Elijah,
that was in the area of straight
Elijah.
copycat games.
Yeah, God, it was. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun not paying full price for those games. Elijah, I'm sorry for snapping at you about Kingdom Hearts and Ghost. I've never hosted before. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm flying.
I'm not. This is what he wants. This is why he plays popular games, so he can crap on him. I've known Elijah way too long.
I'm flying blind up here. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, they're popular games I absolutely adore.
You went into Ghost of Tsushima saying, F this. I want to F this in the A.
I went into Ghost of Tsushima pretty excited.
That sounds like Elijah.
For Austin, what that meant was I want to freak this in the apple.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't have to leave out anything.
You don't have to censor that, bud. This is a children's show.
Oh, man, I played a lot of games this past week. I can't remember what I talked about on the last episode. So let me just recap and say that I have platinumed Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the Platinum Spyro 2, Platinum Spyro 3.
Good stuff.
And then I got an Oculus Quest. That's what it's called.
Good stuff.
Oculus
buddy.
Quest 2. Got that in the mail. I gave up drinking for the month of February, but not before getting very drunk January 30th and ordering one of those through Target. So that was fun.
You love to hear it.
So yeah, I played a lot of games this week, but I'm only going to talk about 3. I want to talk about Beat Saber.
Hell yeah.
I used to make fun of everyone who played it because I thought they looked really stupid when they were playing it from the outside, and then I played it, and now I completely understand why you do like the little like flare things and why you get super into it. I haven't quite experienced fear the way I have experienced fear when playing that game on expert. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna check it out, or even just messing around. I love the amount of options you have in that game, and so for those of you who don't know, Beat Saber, it's basically just like a blocks are coming at you. They're multicolored. They're one of two colors, red or blue, and there's arrows on the blocks, and you get to swipe in the directions, and you have to like time everything out to the beat, and it's a ton of fun. But man, on expert, it is just brutal.
Wait till you try Expert Plus.
On expert, it stops being a game.
Yeah.
You actually get teleported in, and the blocks are flying at your face.
Oh my god, it's a nightmare. But like, one of the things I thought was really cool was that like there's an option that lets you turn off directions, so you just have to hit the box, which I thought was interesting. So it's like all the same amount of boxes, but you don't have to swing in any direction, so it's just kind of a little bit more freestyle. There's one option where you can just
flail any way you like.
Exactly. just forward in a direction. There's one option that lets you play, which is like one saber, which I thought was really interesting. Hard, super hard.
Oh, the one saber mode is super hard.
But man, that game's fun. That game's great. It looks really pretty. And I just really like the hardware. I don't like that I have to log into Facebook to use it.
Classic Oculus.
Yeah, so I created a brand new Facebook account that I only use for Oculus.
Nice.
Be careful, because I hear that it has like Facebook has been deleting those accounts.
Oh, wonderful, cool! Can't wait to lose all $100 of Linkin Park songs I bought. I haven't bought those yet. I'm not drinking this month. I'm not drinking this month. We'll see it. We'll see in March if I buy those.
Isn't it weird that like we're pretty much past the era of like buying music? That we just like stream it constantly.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I wonder if that's why I don't care as much about new music right now. Is because it's entirely free. Whereas like when I was in high school, I probably like justified a lot of music that I shouldn't have just because I spent actual work hours accruing money to buy it. You know?
Yeah, I get YouTube Music with YouTube Premium, and like I just it's amazing. I never have to listen to any advertisements, and I just select whatever song I want, and it's there. Like, yeah. I have the entire world's music library at my hands. I never have to buy anything. It's pretty awesome. I can download it too.
I got Spotify Premium. I do like to just throw on music videos all the time. So I will put up with the ads every once in a while and just throw up music videos on YouTube.
You should think about YouTube Premium because you get the music videos and don't get the ads.
Yeah, but then that feels like a little less valuable to me. Like I just love being able to like shove my phone in my pocket or in my backpack and just like go for a hike or something.
There's a YouTube Music app.
Yeah, but I already have everything set up on my Spotify.
All right, hey man, whatever, float your boat.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. This is cool. It's cool.
You'll be the captain. I'll just be the stupid sailor that drops the anchor.
Look at me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look at you.
I am the captain now. Man, the over-under on me saying that this podcast was my first time hosting was I think at 4.5, so that's 1. Let's see what else. I played a little bit of Vader Immortal.
Great game.
That game's awesome.
Yeah, super good.
Vader's intimidating as hell. I'm not as good of a Jedi as I thought I was. Turns out swinging a lightsaber is a kind of a terrifying prospect, even though it's just...
Now, did you get the same reaction I did when Vader first walked into the room where you're like, oh, I understand now? Like, yes. I get why he's so intimidating.
Yeah, because he always, like, his cape was a little bit different in the game than it was in the movies. And so, like, in the movies, like, it just looks like it's, like, almost like a robe. Like, it's just, like, covering up, like, part of his body. But, like, he was just yoked out of his mind in this game. Like, he showed up and he just had, like, a body type I'd never seen on an actual human being before, but it made perfect sense for Vader. I was like, oh no, I'm strapped to a chair and he just walked in here. I don't like anything about this. And it did. I know it's a well-designed game because like when you're sneaking out of the interrogation room or whatever, and you're like climbing up the side of the tower, I got super queasy. I don't like heights at all.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I had the same thing. It was bad. Yeah.
Vader walks in, it's like, oh, Daddy Vader's here. Daddy Vader's here to do some BDSM.
And last game I played that I want to talk. Last game I played I want to talk about is I've been going through Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and I've been going through it because I need space on my hard drive, and that game is like 165 gigs, and it's right now asking for 24 more gigs for an update. And I think Treyarch should be embarrassed and ashamed. I think whoever did Modern Warfare, the reboot last year, 2 years ago, should be embarrassed and ashamed. I think it is unconscionable for developers to create games that take up so much hard drive space.
Do we know why? It takes so much hard drive space?
I don't know, because I'm pretty sure Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes up like 35 gigs. Like, that game's massive. That game's huge. And, like, I understand, I guess, objectively, you could say that Call of Duty looks better. Like, you just, like, I just played the level where you're, like, going through the Kremlin, trying to, like, sneak data out of the vault. And it's fun.
Isn't that just Mission Impossible 4?
It's exactly what I was thinking, yeah. I was like, yeah, this is neat. I feel like I've already seen this in a more interesting way where they were using mirrors and screens to fool people, and that's more my style. But, like, man, like, it's really selfish and crappy of developers to take up so much space. It's like, come on, man. Like, this is a premium right here. And, like, I can't justify much longer. And, like, the fact that zombies and multiplayer and Warzone are all, like, different modes that you can delete off your hard drive is really nice, that you can, like, sort of partition what you actually want. But it's also like, man, like, what are you doing? Like, how is it possible that it takes up this much space? Anyways, that's my big complaint of the week.
I guess what they said is that that's how much, like, all the DLC is already on the game, I guess, and that's how much space it will take after the post-launch content is added. That's what this says a year ago. And someone commented 50 gigabyte game, 100 gigabyte microtransactions, 25 gigabyte spyware for China.
I mean, it doesn't feel that wrong. Oh, crap, I lied. There's another game. I started Cyberpunk.
Oh. What do you think of it?
I'm like an hour and a half in. That game is fantastic. It is running super well. I haven't had any crashes. I'm amazed at how much detail they're able to fit onto every screen. I think it's a very, very impressive game, but I haven't really done a whole lot outside of, like, the opening, like, tutorial missions. I'm, like, just starting to get to explore Night City. I think that game's incredible so far. I'm very, very impressed.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad someone else likes Cyberpunk, because although I liked it, I didn't love it. I think it's a fine game. It doesn't deserve as much crap as it got. Like, I think the game for most people is probably very playable, to be honest with you.
All right, well, that wraps us up on what we've been playing. Does anyone have anything they want to add? Like, Elijah, this is a good time to apologize for Duncan on Ghost of Tsushima, if you feel
nothing I can think of.
Okay.
I'm having a really hard time because I want to play Ys 9, but I don't want to buy it.
I've never I started a Ys game during the pandemic, and then I accidentally packed up, like, my entire Vita collection. But I started playing.
I was gonna say I'm gonna guess it's 7.
Yeah, Memories of Salsida.
Yeah,
that's 8.
That's 7.
No, wait, Ys
8 is Lacrimosa of Dana.
Yeah, you're right. Ys 8 was really good, and like, it's fun. It's fun because it's like a very fast oriented action JRPG. It's very light on story, so for people like you that can't comprehend stories, George, it's very perfect. And it's like a fun, just like fun action anime game. And Ys 9 apparently is super good and actually has a really good story. So maybe it's not for you, but it has a really good story. And I don't want to pay $60, but I really want to play it because the Bandai Namco games always plummet in price.
That's fair, yeah. And also, it sounds like you're a freeloading piece of crap, so it sounds like it might not be for you either. So. Maybe
see, Elijah, that's how you do it.
Maybe we'll just, I don't know, just have a friend play it, and you feel free to write us at frameskippod, right? That's the
right,
Twitter
account. At frameskippod, yeah.
At frameskippod, yeah. So Coach can be super confused about why someone's talking to him about yeast. All right,
Coach is like, I don't know, man, but that sounds pretty cool.
I don't know, but how about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
All right, I think that brings us to the news section. Psych, there's no news this week we're talking about, right? Guys, there's nothing you want to talk about, right?
There's nothing I really want to talk about.
No, not really.
Like I said, I'm super bummed about Miranda's butthole not being shown in Mass Effect and Legendary Edition, but Austin probably doesn't want to talk about that.
I want to talk about, what did you just say? What were the words that came out of your mouth?
Used really strange wording for it.
I'm really depressed about Miranda's butthole being censored from Mass Effect.
Yeah, one more time, Chief. What's the whole story there about Miranda's butthole? I don't remember her butthole in the game.
Oh, you didn't use that mod.
No, I did not.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. So I floated in the group chat, the Slack earlier, about a topic, since we knew we were going to be light on cast tonight and we were also light on news. I floated the idea of gaming while you're depressed. And I think that's actually something we're talking about. I think
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Given the time of year, I know seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. I know that affects a lot of people. And also the current...
Just real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but can we just really appreciate the fact that seasonal affective disorders acronym is SAD?
Yeah.
I mean, let's get some more naming champs in here that can pull off things like that.
I'll never forget the episode of The Office where they're getting ready to go down to Florida. Why do you think you would be a good fit, Toby? I don't know. I've been really depressed lately. Oh, really? So you've had seasonal affective disorder? We're all sad, Toby.
So I know seasonal affective disorder is a real thing that affects a lot of people. I also know just the current state of affairs is less than ideal. I can easily see a lot of anxiety in people, just because of the way things are, the way things are going, the way they think things are going to be. And there's no way that that's not going to affect you. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be sad. I think it's okay to be depressed. And I know that because I'm going through a little depressive spell right now. I don't want to do jack. I don't even want to play video games. All I really want to eat is Oreos and go to work. That's really all I want to do.
You want to go to work?
Yeah, it's just nice to not think about depression.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I understand that very well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I didn't even finish the first episode of Vader Immortal. Like, I was just like, oh man, this is nice, but maybe when I'm in a better mood.
You're in slumber. None of your hobbies are slapping right now?
No, my friends, I had an old podcast called In a Word, where we'd each bring like a different word and just talk about what it means to us and what it meant to the other people. And we had an a metaphor for depression where it felt like you had nothing to do but just kick rocks into a pit.
Yeah.
And we called it the pit. Sorry, Austin, I'll Venmo you $5. It was just like the last place you want to be was just a giant hole full of and
$10.
That's 10, yeah. So we would just say like, yeah, I'm in the pit, or like, yeah, I'm just kicking rocks on the outside. I feel like I'm kind of kicking rocks, but also I feel like it's starting to give way a little bit.
So, like when you're probably playing games and you're like, wow, I would really enjoy this if I wasn't super bummed out right now, huh?
Yeah.
You can kind of distinguish that thing where you're not like you don't hate this game, you actually really enjoy it, but you just can't enjoy it because of your mental state. Is that?
I think that's it. Also, like I'm not working like full time. I'm working like 3 or 4 days a week, depending on other people at work. And so I think it's just one of those things too, where it's just like I got so much time to game where I'm like, I can just play that later because it turns out I'm not doing jack tomorrow either. So I'll just do it then. So it doesn't feel like particularly special to me. Like it's not like I'm just gonna go grab a 2-liter of Mountain Dew, little box of Cheez-Its and rip roar through the Call of Duty campaign, burn through this sucker in a night. Like that's how I used to do it. And now I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just gonna watch sports highlights from when Tom Brady was on my football team. And
so like if I may have a soapbox here for
please.
a little bit, gentlemen.
You need one because you're relatively short as a person, as I understand.
I'm 6 foot tall.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still ragging on each other. Also,
well, no, I mean, like, but I mean, there's got to be some sort of truth to the insult, right?
Oh, sorry. Just in my head, you're just like the 3-inch screen I see on Zoom. So
I'm actually that size. Like I just like chill on your desk. I'm like, hey, George.
Just bouncing mirrors. It's a light trick. It's
in all fairness,
come at me.
It does on Zoom look like Seth is in front of a green screen and like his room is just the picture. So like he could be like miniature and be like the size of the computer.
Oh yeah, don't be jealous, guys. I'm actually in the Bahamas. This is This is a sweet hotel room, huh?
Well, it's like the angles of like your ceiling. I don't know, like they're going towards the camera, so that makes the room look smaller. So like proportionally, you look smaller, and like I don't know how big that chair is that you're in.
3 inches.
Perfect. Also, I swear I'm not drinking. I'm just this dumb. I'm sorry, guys.
So I have some hot takes about depression, and I think it's like I think a lot of people don't like to hear this, but I think for me it's been undoubtedly true. And now when I'm depressed, I know how to handle it because I think I accidentally stumbled upon some sort of truth about depression. And for anyone listening, and even you guys, you may not want to hear this, but like I think it's important to hear it. I think that depression is caused by comfortability and ease, like an easy life. And that may not be like, you might be like, oh, I'm kind of going through it right now. Like, I don't have what I want. I'm not happy with my life, so it's not easy. But like, think about how we are biologically designed. And I think that's what I mean by easy life. Like, we don't have to worry, especially in this country, we really don't have to worry about like food or shelter or water. And I think our bodies were biologically evolved to like focus on those things, right? And I think depression comes from having like a super, super easy life where we don't have to worry about those things. And I think gaming, when you're depressed, is actually counterproductive because although you're sad, or not technically sad, but like you feel sad, you feel down, right? It's the best synonym for depression, really. You don't want to do anything. You want to sit on the couch and like play games, and sometimes you might not even have the energy to play games. But I think forcing yourself to not do that, forcing yourself to do the things that you don't want to do, is actually the best fight for depression you can get. Because I went through a really, really, really bad bout of depression about a year ago that lasted for months and months and months, right? And the way I chose to go about it was I chose to educate myself. And I was like, all right, well, what I've been doing isn't working, right? Like I like chilling out, treating myself, spending my money, like it's not working. Whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm dealing with, it's not improving. So I started like what I would do with any sort of competition or fight, like that. As you guys know, I'm a martial artist. I got my game plan, right? I got my game plan. I got my knowledge. I educated myself, and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna start with literally anything. So I woke up and I started like making my bed every day. And I started, once I did that for a week, I was like, all right, well, now I can like eat healthier for a week. Now I can start working out. Now I can go force myself to go see friends. Now I can like call family. Like I just started doing all these things I didn't want to do that made me uncomfortable. But I put myself in situations and I put in and struggled. I think that's what you need to do to get out of depression. I know that a lot of people think that like, and everyone's different. Like everyone responds to things differently, and everyone's depression is caused by different things, of course. But I think forcing yourself to improve yourself, even though you don't want to, even though you feel like you don't have the energy, like do you have the energy to stand up and walk to the other side of the room? Well, then you have the energy to do something else too. Like it's really the thing about depression is that it's a war in your head against yourself. And it's really a fight for yourself, And I think that's the thing that people got to realize. Like, yes, it's a mental disorder, but I also think that there's ways you can fight back against depression, and it's by taking care of yourself and not giving up on yourself, not taking it easy. And I firmly step off my soapbox.
I'm sorry for laughing in the middle of that when he said you did what you do for like any big fight or competition.
That's what I know, dude.
I just immediately thought like,
oh,
he doesn't drink water for 3 days so that his muscles really pop.
What? No, I never do that. I drink water constantly.
Isn't that what they do? Like, I know you don't do like bodybuilding competitions, but don't they like purposely dehydrate to like really make like their veins and?
Are you talking about cutting weight in like martial arts competitions?
No, let's talk about like Mr. Universe, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Lou Ferrigno.
No, yeah, I'm sure they do that, but they also cut water weight really, really bad in wrestling and martial arts, MMA. to make weight, so they can balloon back up to like 30 pounds above the weight limit in 12 hours.
Tight. No, that was very thoughtful.
Really
That was thank you for sharing that, Seth. I know it's hard to.
I mean, hey, you're welcome.
Well, it's just I know we talk about like our personal opinions on video games, but we don't really always talk about our personal opinions about ourselves. So
listen, man, like I don't like to like jump at people and give them advice without them asking me, because I know like how annoying that can be. But like I really did, like I was depressed for years, man. Like I didn't want to do anything at all ever. Like for like a 3-year period, I would wake up and my day would be exactly the same. I'd play games. I didn't want to play games. I didn't want to watch TV. I didn't want to like do anything. And like I beat it by just doing what I said. And like honestly, it sounds hard, but if you're committed to yourself and you like you really, really want something and you just like refuse to let go of what you're doing, like that's how I lost weight. Like I'm absolutely not gonna give up on myself this time. Then like I think you can beat it. I beat it. I mean, and I had a really, really, really bad case where I was like suicidal. Like I was not okay. I don't know. I do not have a closing statement for this. I'm kind of just out in the void, floating right now.
I think my worst depression. I was never suicidal, but I was definitely bad. Where I was just like, if I were to get hit by a car, like I don't know how upset I would be. Without being suicidal, it's just like, oh man, it'd be really interesting to like feel something right now, like a car hitting my legs.
I also think if you put good positivity out in the universe, there's like a weird role that like you get positivity back. Like I definitely go out of my way every single day to like be happy and be kind to people, even though I might be dying inside because I'm having a shitty day. I go out of my way to like try to make people laugh and smile.
I always do the same thing because, just like what you said, you may be having a crappy day, but someone else might be also, and you never know when just whatever nice thing you do could help them and maybe help start to get them out of what they're going through. So,
yeah, but always remember, like, too, is that you can't help someone else if you can't fix yourself either. Like, you got in order to be. I'm
not saying like you are purposely trying to help them. Just like doing a nice thing may be something that they need to help themselves start to.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong, but I know a lot of people that are depressed. They try to go out and like help other people that are depressed, and I think that's like a.
Yeah, that's not the
because you have to be okay yourself. I think it's sort of like in a relationship, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else.
I disagree with that statement, but
I don't know. I get that. Where it's just like my favorite thing is like people are just like, yeah, I've been single for so long, like I don't understand what's wrong. I'm like, well, would you date you right now?
Exactly,
and the answer is
exactly right.
The answer is usually no. And it's just like, all right.
It's not that you can't love someone else. It's that you shouldn't bring someone else into your life when your life's a complete revolting mess.
Mm-hmm. I don't completely agree with that, but
okay, that's fair.
This isn't the guidance counseling podcast.
Yeah, we're all different 30-year-olds just trying to make sense of things.
Actually, I'm 27, bud. I'm 27. Don't push me.
Oh God, you look 40.
Don't push me in.
God, do you spend every day in the sun just chain smoking cigarettes?
I look the best I've ever looked right now, Elijah. Can you?
Yeah, I know you've looked 60.
God. I mean, I will say your beard's amazing, but it looks like a Lego beard. Like it looks just like so perfect, it's fake.
What do I do about that? What do I do about that?
All I'm saying is like your beard's too perfect.
That's okay. It's too perfect. That's okay. It's only like half an inch tall in reality. So
you should.
I don't know if I have any scissors to actually.
You should get into a fishing accident just to like throw a scar there, just to make it look a little bit more real.
I did this for you, George.
I just sent a picture. Fish hooked myself.
Just sent a picture of me in the hospital. Did it for you, bud.
Basically, making himself look like a Skyrim character.
No, actually, what I did was I got a beard guide on Amazon. So now whenever I'm trimming my beard, I hold it up, and now it gives me the perfect lines every time.
Gotcha.
Because I noticed my beard kept getting uneven. Because I'm like, for some reason, unable to make a straight beard. So it'd be like, it looked like I had a stroke sometimes. I was after
when it comes to me and depression and gaming, it's kind of like what Seth said, because most of the time a game doesn't really help me. Like, there are some times where it has, and it's kind of just been what I needed for like comfort food, basically. I want Oreos now, thanks George. But most of the time gaming just does not do it for me, and that's when I will start to do other hobbies that I enjoy but haven't given the time I should. Like, I'll start reading more, and I will make sure I'm going on more hikes, or like different stuff like that I do enjoy but I don't give myself enough time to do.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that does help a bit, because I feel like I'm finally I've been closed off to parts of me that I'm finally opening back up to.
I mean, like exercise is a big one, right? Because I looked at certain things. I'm like, all right, what's proven to help depression? All right, exercise,
Releases
sunlight,
endorphins.
yeah, exercise, sunlight, working out, like having a clean apartment, things like that. It's proven that those kind of things make you feel good, make you feel happy. So I was like, let's start there. That's what I did.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think when I'm super anxious about stuff, and like, have you guys ever had like the type of anxiety where it does feel like there's like a 450-pound person just like sitting on your chest?
Yep.
Oh yeah, like you like literally can't do anything. Like, it's over.
And like you can like barely like breathe, and you're just like waiting to have like a heart failure or something. I find when I feel like that's when gaming's actually super helpful, just because like it does distract me, and like just like having checkboxes like in games, especially like I think I told the story about like me trying to like platinum Mass Effect 1 when I was like super anxious and like convinced I was going to die that night, after having like the worst panic attack of my entire life. And like it's super helpful there, but then like, yeah, God, depression is just like, oh man, but like what if I just didn't even turn on the TV? What if I turn on the TV and just like stare at the home screen for PlayStation? That sounds good.
So,
I just want to do that right now.
So like the way my therapist, that was the other thing I did, by the way. I got into therapy and got a therapist because my health insurance was covering all mental health when COVID hit. So I was like,
nice,
perfect time. They were covering 100%, no copay whatsoever. I was
that's
like,
amazing.
Here we go, let's go. So I took advantage of that, and my therapist was like, obviously anxiety and depression are two different things, but when you have them at the same time, depression, you should go out and do something for yourself, but anxiety makes you not able to do that. So you get stuck in this loop where you can't really do anything and you feel terrible about yourself. And it's just, and a lot of times they do go hand in hand, especially for people like me that have ADHD. Which, by the way, I was at the bottom of the spectrum of ADHD. I had like the worst ADHD you can have. I took a test, and did I tell you guys this story, by the way?
I don't remember. You might have, but I don't remember.
So I go to take my ADHD
so.
test, right? Because they had already like clinically diagnosed me, but you have to have the test for the insurance to cover your medication and whatnot. And it's really hard to get diagnosed as an adult. So that was the final step. I had to get my test, and I walk up to the computer, and the test was like super easy, right? Like there was numbers that flash on the screen. I think you clicked the mouse every time it said, or you saw a 2 on the screen, right? And they would flash like 1, 2, 3, and they would speak at the same time in the headphones. And it was like an hour long. I had to do that for like an hour. And I got up after the test was done, sat down, and the psychologist, I can't remember the term for the ADHD. It was the ADHD specialist. She walked over and she saw the results, and she's like, "Oh, honey, I'll be right back. Right? I need to print this out for you." And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I think I did pretty good on that test. And she walks in the room, right? She hands me this paper of like a paper of like 40 different categories stapled together, right? And almost under every single one of them, it said severely impaired, severely impaired, severely impaired. Except for reaction speed, which was like incredible. And I was like, oh, there's my karate and video games. Yep.
I could be a Gundam pilot. Yeah.
And she's like, well, this isn't a measure of your intelligence. And I'm like, no, I understand it's not a measure of my intelligence, but I'm super sad that like I'm essentially disabled. like you handed me these results, man. I don't think I'm gonna feel very good about them.
Oh my god. That's like that SNL sketch where Will Ferrell's like he goes down to like a community college to be like a life model for artists, and they're like, please like stop talking to the students, like they'll be tested on this later. He's like, I took a test earlier today. at the free clinic for hepatitis. I kicked 2. I got an A, 2 B's, and a C. I'm just sitting there like feeling like, I feel pretty good about that test. And I'm like, oh, bro.
That's exactly how she's like, oh, honey, I need to print these out for you. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah. So that was my ADHD story, but also depression and anxiety come with ADHD as well.
Yeah.
But
now,
those are my personal thoughts.
I do need to take the test.
You need to go see a therapist, bud. You take a test. You can't just walk into a clinic and be like, I want the ADHD test.
I do see it.
I demand it.
I want the test, sir. We don't have COVID tests. I don't care about the COVID test. I want the ADHD test.
I do have a therapist.
Just like, excuse me?
And
what?
We are like 99% sure I have ADHD. So,
noises.
Yeah, I need to take care of that.
Yeah,
I believe in you, Elijah. I know you can.
I believe that I have it.
I know you can crush Seth's score.
I don't think. I mean, if we're going for high score, yeah, you can definitely crush me. But I mean, it's not a very high bar.
I don't want to beat Seth's score.
Yeah, I think this is a real golf situation. I think you want a lower score.
She was like, honestly, it's amazing you haven't been diagnosed yet at 26 years old. And I'm like, I don't. Why is that amazing? Because I just fail so often that you're just amazed that I made it this far. Like what?
Thanks for letting me. Thanks for letting me slip through so many cracks, lady.
I'm like, jeez.
Like they were asking me, "Do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, a little, yeah." And by the end, they're like, "Oh, okay."
I don't mean to, but here's the thing, though: is like I don't mean to diminish ADHD. Like I can totally see, like I have family members who have like severe ADHD, but like so many of the symptoms for it are just like it's like when you see like the COVID symptoms list, and you're like, well, I mean, yeah, like like a cough, it's like yeah, it's like like headache, like I mean, yeah, it's like like body aches and just like general fatigue. I'm like,
I'm 30, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I think because like yeah, you're right. Like, there's a lot of ADHD symptoms that are, like, pretty normal for everybody. Mm-hmm. But I think, like, when you have ADHD, like, the symptoms are, like, very problematic. Like, there's, like, procrastination is, like, a huge symptom of ADHD.
Yeah.
And, like, bro, like, procrastination has ruined my life. I mean, it is bad. Like, mm-hmm. You don't understand. Like, there was times where I wrote an entire paper in 15 minutes because I was, like, I didn't want to do this at all until this last second, and the teacher would get it and be like, "Why do you keep doing this?" And I'm like, "I
don't know." I understand that like, very, very.
I don't know why I'm like this. I have no idea. It's not because I was too lazy. It's just I was like, I can't. It's like anything that takes any specific amount of time. This is a great video game podcast.
It is
crushing.
Yeah, I was actually about to. I was thinking about bringing it back to video games, just because I do want to kind of talk about like.
I think for anxiety, video games are super helpful. You're right.
Oh my god!
Oh god, yes.
I think for depression, it's not.
You see, but I'm going to disagree with you right there because I think one thing that was really helpful for my depression, recent depression, was actually playing Star Wars Battlefront with Elijah and Austin last week.
That was so fun.
Yeah, and like social communication is, I think, a big thing.
I think, yeah, that was great. But mostly just like the monotony of multiplayer, where it's like I'm going to do roughly the same thing with like different results every time. That actually,
I like how you basically just said like, yeah, hanging out with Austin and Elijah, and you're like, yeah, that was okay, I guess. But what really helped, I'm sitting here just tears wanting to roll down.
No, it was obviously talking with Austin was great. That was like a lot of fun. But just there are times when like I'm super bummed out, and like I said, like I'll just turn on my PlayStation and be like, I want to play something, and then like have like the Netflix style like I don't know what to watch right now with games. But just the fact that I don't know, like just like loading into multiplayer and just having like, okay, this is variations on a theme of the exact same thing. That was like oddly soothing. Was just like, oh, I just get to select one thing that's going to be vaguely different each time. That was really nice. I played one game that I am struggling to remember the name of. It wasn't quite Depression Simulator. This was like one of the last games I played right before COVID like really hit.
Oh, I think I know what game you're talking about.
Ooh, let me open my
What's it
Steam.
called? Let me
It
open
might be
my
Depression Simulator.
Oh, it's called Drowning. Sorry.
Oh, okay, Drowning. Yeah, that's not the game I was thinking of, but yeah, Drowning's. Yeah.
I don't think there's been a really good video game about depression yet.
There has. It's called Please Knock on My Door.
Okay.
I actually had a couple friends recommend it to me.
Interesting name.
And it was really good because I'm like, oof, yeah, I know this feeling way too well. It's very tastefully done, and God, that game hurt.
Is that a Steam game?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me rephrase. Sorry. I don't think there's been a good console game about depression.
Maybe not. I mean, there was that game that came out about depression that Elijah reviewed. Wasn't that you that Elijah reviewed that, Elijah?
Drowning?
No.
That's the game about depression that I reviewed.
Unfinished Swan?
I've never played the Unfinished One. Oh, oh God, what's the one that came out after that? What Remains of Edith Finch?
Oh yeah, that game actually bummed me out so much I had to stop playing
I don't
it.
think so.
Yeah, that game was a real bummer.
Well, we're talking about games about depression. I don't think it's going to be very uplifting. But
Well, yeah, but like I didn't know that going into it. And I was like, wait, what? There's a bird, and I got to eat another bird, and there's a tentacle monster.
Actually, I did write an article about the game Inside, and how a lot of it.
That's the one. Yeah.
A lot of it, like as I was playing through it a second time, because that everyone was saying about how amazing it was, and I was like, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not. And then I was playing through it again, and I started noticing all these things that were metaphors for depression. And I'm like, this isn't the reason everybody loves this game, but it's the reason I'm starting to love it.
I think that is the one I was thinking of. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up this conversation.
Actually, I think I'll say let's wrap up this conversation since I'm the freaking host this week.
Well, I just feel like we should end the podcast on an uplifting note, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I feel like we should end the conversation right there because I want to end it there, not because Seth suggested to end it there. So I think that's going to wrap us up on our talk on gaming.
I hosted for a really long time, George. I'm sorry. It's like second nature. I hosted the R&M for like 190 episodes.
No, I was about to wrap this up anyway. I got D&D real wicked soon. Seth, where can people reach you?
Sir, we have to do trivia very quick.
Oh my God, my goodness. Yeah, sorry. Elijah has as a surprise for us. Elijah, surprise us.
So one thing we're going to start doing every week is I'm going to ask 2 trivia questions, and I'm going to keep track every episode throughout the year to see if there's a winner at the end of the year.
Even better, I'm glad that we're the first podcast about video games to ever think about doing something even remotely similar to this.
There's never been an Xbox podcast from IGN that has done something similar to this.
Never done like Easy Allies has never done anything like this.
In all fairness, I've never listened to Easy Allies, so I.
Oh, you sure? They're real good.
They're really good.
No, yeah. I didn't enjoy their E3 stuff. It was super annoying, and I couldn't do it anymore.
You know who sucks? Giant Bomb.
I actually don't really like Giant Bomb that much.
Giant Bomb sucks.
Giant Bomb's like the only gaming podcast I listen to anymore.
I know it is. Does that hurt? Did that burn your soul?
Not really, because I expect it from you. So
you look like Fred.
I listen to Into the Aether. They don't do anything like this, but I
realized
I like them a lot.
I look like
his name Fred Gershman.
Jeff Gerstmann?
Jeff Gershman.
Jeff Gershman. All I could think of when you said that was Team America. Yeah. Alec Baldwin.
Matt Damon.
So, this week's topic of trivia is PlayStation, you should believe in your games more. So, the first question I have for you guys.
Yep.
Sony came out with a horror series that lasted for 3 games. One of those games got published in other territories, but not the US. What series is this?
Is it Siren?
Seth, what do you think?
Anna.
The correct answer is Siren. Siren 2 only ever came out in Japan and Europe, but was never published over here.
This guy.
Now, question 2 could be worth 2 points.
Wait, is or it isn't? Like
It's Siren.
you gotta make the rules here.
The reason it could be, there is a bonus point in it. Demon Souls was published by PlayStation in Japan, but a different publisher in Europe and another
Atlas.
different publisher in the US.
Atlas.
Seth gets the bonus point for getting the US publisher.
Oh, that's bull. I knew that too.
Why didn't you say it then, George?
Because I was waiting, because like I host Pub Trivia. I know you should wait for him to finish asking the question.
George,
Yeah, but I knew the question immediately.
that's only the bonus point part of it. That's not the first time that PlayStation has published a game in Japan, but Atlas published it in the United States. What PlayStation 2 game did get this treatment?
We get one guess, right?
Yes.
Zone of the Enders. That was a terrible guess. Konami makes Zone of the Enders.
Yeah,
Like, I'm dumb. I'm out on that. Damn.
Is it a good game?
Guy.
I'm not answering any question like that.
Oh well. If
That
that's the kind of friend you want to be, that's fine.
That was an embarrassing guess on my part. I don't know why I said Zone of the Enders. It just kind of popped out.
You said Zone of the Enders. I'm like, I don't think Konami ever let Sony have the rights to that.
He should probably lose his bonus point because it was such a dumb answer.
It's mean. It's quite awful.
So it was a game that Atlas published that Sony published in Japan.
Yes. It is technically a PlayStation branded game, but not in the US or Europe because it was published by a different company.
This is probably a wild guess. Persona 4?
No. The 2006 game Rule of Rose.
Screw you, Elijah. This is a
The
bad
most-
game. This is a bad game.
I never said it was a good
obscure
game.
horror game I think I've ever heard of.
It is a PlayStation game, but just like Demon Souls, they did not publish it outside of Japan.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that game was a bad game. I meant your trivia game is a bad game.
It is a bad game, though. It is a bad game. It's also one of the most expensive PS2 games there is.
Yep. I just bought it last month.
Did you really?
Did you really? It's so not worth it to have that game, Elijah. Sell it. Buy a car.
To me, it's not worth that much.
Sell it and buy a house.
Sell it and buy a bad car.
I was gonna say, yeah, I could sell it and buy a car that would get me down the road a little bit before it breaks again. But
sell it and buy Fred Flintstone's car.
You can sell it for a minimum of $320 right now.
it's going for way more than that.
What'd you pay?
George, did you hear what I said? Did you hear the words that I said when I told him that?
Yeah, what'd you pay for it, Elijah?
400.
I said you could sell it for a minimum of $320 right now.
Yeah, it's usually going for about 490.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
I just bought a whole bunch of super rare Star Wars comics, so I'm not in any position to.
Oh, you still buy like physical Star Wars? You still buy physical comics?
Yeah, I bought. I was buying out like trade paperbacks to fill out my collection. I really just wanted like all of Star Wars Legacy, Knights of the Old Republic, and Dark Times, because those were the ones I was reading in high school, and I was a big fan of those.
See, I don't like physical comics anymore. Now that I moved on to like digital comics, I don't like the space they take up because I never go back and read comics almost ever. So
I still do. I still do all the time. And for me, I don't like Marvel Unlimited UI that much. I really don't like DC Infinite UI, and I haven't checked out Comixology. So until the experience is a little bit better, digital comics. I'm gonna stick
I like
physical.
Comixology a lot.
All right. I'll have to check it out one of these days. On that note, I think that wraps us up. Seth, where can people reach you?
Just don't.
Okay. Elijah.
Seth S. Taylor on Twitter.
I was going to let you have it. I mean, everyone has the right to not be reached.
At Seth S. Taylor.
All right. At Seth S. Taylor. Thank you. Elijah, where can people reach you?
At Loco Lizard Man on Twitter.
You can reach Austin at Austin J. Eller. You can reach Coach at frameskippod. You can reach me at GB Loftus. Is that my handle?
Yes.
Cool.
At GB Loftus.
You can reach me at GB Loftus. Happy gaming, everyone, and it's okay if you're down. Where everyone gets a little down. If you're down, reach out to us. We're down too. Just come say hey, come say hi. It'll be fun.
But don't give up on yourself, because you can win.
Yeah,
if you're down, that means you can get up again.
That sounds like a 90s dance hit.
It really does. I said it and I'm like,
it's like, oh god, was that Hadaway? Was that CNC Music Factory? Who did that?
I know the song you're talking about, but I have no idea who it was.
Okay. All right. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Until next time. Cut.